Well, good morning, YouTube. All right, today is the day. Talon and I are going to try and get these rear ends out of this Kenworth so we can go and exchange them for some rebuilt units to get this truck on the road. So we just got here a couple minutes ago. As you can see behind me, I moved Goliath over here just because my tools are still in Goliath. Haven't taken them home yet because I knew we had to do some work on this and there was no sense in just bringing them back and forth. So it was easier to just move Goliath over here next to the Kenworth rather than trying to unload the toolbox over there on the gravel lot and roll it over here.
Plugs on the bottom of this pan. It just pumps out.
All right, guys, so the first thing we're doing is we're going to go ahead and drain all the fluid out of the rear ends, and then we'll have to pull the axles on the sides, slide them out this way some so that we can take the center trunk out. Remember, last time I was up for working on it, we got the drive shafts disconnected, all the air lines disconnected, all the electrical for this temperature sensors and everything disconnected. So there should be nothing holding these rear ends in there other than the actual bolts that physically attach it into the housing. We may have to remove some of these dog bones out of the suspension though. So this dog bone right here sits above that second drive, and I don't think there's enough room for us to weasel it out through the top with that in the way. There's definitely not enough room to get it out from underneath. So we brought the cherry picker with us, the engine hoist, so we can try to pull it out from the top. So let's see how that goes. All right, everybody, we got the dog bone out of the way. All of the bolts are out of the housing. All of the fluids are drained out of both housings. We're getting ready to pull the chunk out, and unfortunately, the weather is turning ugly. It's starting to rain on us. And just our luck. We've been trying forever to get out here and get this work done. We finally get a day to come out and do it, and the rain comes. All right, guys, it took too many hands to hold the camera, but here we go. Talon's cranking it up, and this one's coming out. All right, might want to pull it back towards you so it'll clear the frame. All right, should be good. Take it the rest of the way up. All right, guys, pulling the axles on the front one now, and Talon's pulling the axle on the passenger side. Now, we don't actually have to pull the axles all the way out. We just have to pull them out far enough that they're disengaged from the center housing. That way the center housing can come out without the axles holding them in. All right, now we've got all the bolts out of the housing as well. These ones here at the top are really tricky because there's not a lot of room to get a ratchet and a socket in there. We had to use big breaker bars and a box end wrench with another wrench stuck on the end of it to give us the leverage we needed to break them loose. But I think we're ready to hoist this one out now too. This was a whole lot more challenging because we got a lot less space to work with around here. So we had to drop it, lower the rear with a ratchet strap, and then point it up. Now it looks like she's gonna come out.
The chain better hold.
All right, guys, the rain is starting again, but luckily we got both of the differential sections out of the rear end housings. They're both in the back of the dually. Now it's just scheduling a time to where we can go up to John Story Salvage and get the remand ones, get them back in, get them put back in. Don't know when that's going to be just yet, so stay tuned. All right, guys, as you can see, we've been driving a little bit this morning. It is the next day after we pull those rear ends out, and I am en route up to John Story Salvage Yard in Knoxville, Tennessee, so that we can pick up the replacement rebuilt rear ends for the Kenworth. So I'm currently in Sweetwater, Tennessee. Stopped at the Weigels here. I don't know if you see the sign there, the Weigels. Had to put some diesel fuel in the truck. Talon had stuff to do today, so he couldn't come, so my co-pilot today is just Jixer, just her and I. And stopped here to get some fuel and to get some coffee and getting ready to jump on the interstate, so no more pretty back roads, just interstate from here to Knoxville. All right, guys, and there we go. $100 worth of diesel fuel in the tank. Gonna run inside, top off with some coffee. It's a little chill out here. I'm still wearing short sleeves, but the temperature on the way here has been between 45 and 53, so I might have to throw my hoodie on here soon. Well, guys, I don't know exactly what happened there, but that car was all sorts of upside down and in the trees. There was someone walking around, so I'm thinking everybody's okay. I hope everybody's okay. But it must have just happened. I've only been on the interstate about 10 miles or so, and I was in the traffic before any of those emergency vehicles had come by me on the shoulder. So it must have just been very, very recent from the time I got on. But I hope everybody's okay, and just be safe out there. All right, guys, I just pulled up here at John Story and Sons Truck Parts and go check in and see where they want me to put this stuff. Well, guys, sometimes my luck just doesn't work the way I want it to. So I drove up here to John Story's, about a 3-hour drive from the house. And we had a miscommunication issue. He does not have what I need. So it was a little bit of a waste of time to come up here. However, I did have his rear end guy take a look at the 355 that I have, and he says there's nothing wrong with this one. There's really no reason to exchange it anyway, so that kind of saves us a little bit of money there. But he didn't have a 355 ratio to fit that rear drive, which is the 410, and we don't want to mix them. So back to the drawing board on what we're going to do there. So we got to figure something out. When I was trying to figure all this out a couple months ago, there was a shop in Atlanta that would rebuild that rear end, and dollar wise it was more expensive in comparison to him replacing both rear ends as to just doing the one. I think it was like $1,200 for them to just rebuild my rear end if I sent it to them. So I know we're gonna have to look at those options, but for now we're gonna get heading back home because we can't do anything here. Well guys, I am back in Sweetwater, Tennessee. I didn't do much recording between Knoxville and here because it was just nothing but non-stop traffic. Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, trying to leave there. That in the sun, heading southwest out of Knoxville on I-75, I-40. Right in my face. Wasn't gonna be good footage at all. All right guys, the main reason I stopped here is because I need some more coffee and had to use the restroom. But as you can see, we're running out of daylight. I don't think there's gonna be much else for this video, so we're probably gonna close it out here soon. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get to accomplish our goal today, but so here was the miscommunication. When I called Mr. Story this morning, I had reminded him of a conversation that he and I had a couple of months ago. I told him about the problem with the rear ends and why I wanted to change them out. And he was like, yeah, today's a great day to come on down. So we did so. What we didn't discuss in today's conversation was what type of rear ends I had. Now, we did on the previous conversation a few months ago, but he, I guess, had been mistaken, and he thought I had D404 Eaton rear ends, and what I actually have are 402s. So yeah, I drove 3 hours to get there, and he did not have the rear end that I needed. All right, guys, I hate to say it, but we're gonna go ahead and close this one out. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and until the next time I see you, keep those engines running.
The destination is on your right. Arrived.
Did anybody happen to recognize what we just drove by? I'll give you another hint. If you know, leave it in the comments. All right, guys, how many of you actually stuck around to the very end of the video? Well, if you did, I got a surprise for you. If you were able to figure out that last question I asked you about where I was, and I showed you those couple pictures, the first person to leave the correct answer in the comment is going to get one of these Extreme Bikes hats. Now, this isn't new gear. These are hats I actually made probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, and I've got 3 or 4 of them left in stock. So I'm going to give that away to the first person that leaves the correct answer to where I was in the comments. But now that we're talking about gear, guys, got a question to ask you. You know, we used to have gear when we had the shop in Orlando, but we haven't produced any gear in a long, long time. And as a YouTuber, I've noticed that a lot of popular YouTube channels offer gear. What do you guys think about that? Is it something you think we should do? And if so, what would you like to see? I'm a little reluctant because we're not a big YouTube channel. Most of these channels that are doing gear are 20,000 plus subscribers. You know, we're around 5,000. So I don't know what's the right decision for us, but I think I'll let you guys help make that decision. If you want to see gear, tell me, leave it in the comments, leave what you'd like to see, and maybe we'll go from there. So for real this time, we're done. Yeah, it's that time of year. Fired up the fireplace. It's gonna get cold. Holiday seasons are coming. I like the ambiance.